India versus Australia is the 2023 World Cup final. That's right, Australia have just qualified as the finalist for the World Cup to play India in Ahmedabad at the Narendra Modi Stadium on Sunday. The Australians have beaten the South Africans yet again in a semi-final and will meet India in the final. But it was a nervous chase. Australia just about scraping home by 3 wickets, even though the South Africans had just scored 212. So we will have a repeat of the 2003 World Cup final on November 19th. Then it was Australia who thrashed India. This time, it's time for revenge. We took revenge against the Kiwis in Mumbai yesterday. It's now time for the Kangaroos to face Indian power. Okay, joining us now is the one and only Sunil Gavaskar. Appreciate your joining us, Mr. Gavaskar. No surprise, India versus Australia. One team wins 10 in a row, the other 8 on the bounce. The best two teams qualifying for the final in your view, sir?
You could say that, yes, definitely. Because both the teams, India in particular, were absolutely superb in the group stage, where they won all their 9 matches, and then they won the semi-final in style as well. And Australia, which stumbled at the start, they lost to India in their first match, but then they came back strongly to win some games from pretty impossible situations. So the best two teams in the finals for sure, no question about it.
We'll come to those finals in a bit, but do you sense that this Australian team, while doing remarkably well in winning 8 on the bounce, is on paper at least possibly not as strong as the team of 2003 or 7, which won the World Cups, or indeed 2015? To that extent, would you say on paper, India the favourites?
India certainly the favourites, the way they have played. But the Australians can never be written off, because what we saw the other day from Glenn Maxwell as well, in sheer extreme physical discomfort, and yet the manner in which he played, didn't give up. There were occasions when he was perhaps thinking of going off the field because of the fact that he couldn't stand up. But the love for the country, the love to try and win something big for the country, made him go on, and that is something that you can never discount as far as the Australians are concerned. When it comes to playing for their country, they will do everything. So I do believe that this will be a great finals because both the teams are now teams which will not give up at all.
There's talk of momentum, Mr. Gavaskar, always in big finals. India's had momentum really from day one when we beat the Australians in that big match in Chennai. And that really seemed to propel the Indian team forward. When you play a final, does that matter that you've beaten a team in the round robin? I remember you beat the West Indies in the round robin at Old Trafford and then, of course, won the title. Does that psychologically, does that give the Indians an edge, the fact that we've beaten the Australians earlier in the tournament and therefore maybe have a bit more momentum?
Definitely does. Because remember also the manner in which the Indian team recovered. They had lost 3 wickets for only 2 runs, and the way they recovered and went on to win. Eventually they won with the match quite easily, with a few overs to spare as well. So that will certainly give them the confidence that they've beaten this team. And so clearly when they enter the field on the 19th of November, they'll be full of beans. They'll be full of confidence that they can do it again.
Particularly because the Australians seem to really struggle, Mr. Gavaskar, today against the South African spinners. And you'd believe that the Indian spinners are even better there. There seems to be a wariness when the Australians play spin, and we saw that in today's game.
Yes. You have to say, though, that the Eden Gardens pitch had a little more turn in it than what we will probably get at Ahmedabad. The Ahmedabad pitch is generally a good pitch to bat on, so there won't be that much of turn and help for the spinners. But yes, there has been a sort of weakness, if you might call it, against the spinners because not many Australians use their feet to go down the pitch, and that has certainly hampered their batting. So yes, India would be tempted to bring in Ashwin as well.
So is there something we should be fearing of the Australians, apart from the fact that you said they play the big matches well? Is there a player or a particular aspect of the game that India should look at closely when we do a match-up with the Australians?
They never say die spirit. They will fight till the last ball. No match against the Australians is won till the final run is scored or the final wicket taken. So India will have a fight on its hands, no question about it. And the same can be said about the Australians. The Australians will have a fight on their hands because this Indian team is very, very keen to win this cup. They have also shown in this tournament that they will fight, like we saw in the semi-finals with the partnership between Mitchell and Williamson, looking as if it was going to win the game for New Zealand. They never ever showed any nervousness. There were no dropping of shoulders. They believed in themselves that it was just one wicket that could make the difference, and that's what happened.
Just a word about the South Africans, so near yet so far yet again. Is that psychological or just the fact that they got perhaps the worst of the conditions when it looked like drizzling and there were grey skies, so they struggled in that first crucial hour?
Well, I think then they made a mistake. If there was a bit of drizzle and if there was a bit of overcast conditions, they should have, with their four-man pace attack, they should have taken the fielding option. That they didn't tells you that maybe they were so stuck into believing that no, they have to bat first. Sometimes, when teams start to believe that is their only strength, then that can also become their weakness, as we saw, because the Australian new ball bowlers used the conditions brilliantly.
There, Mr. Gavaskar. I just want to go to Anirban in Kolkata, where, of course, Indian fans, the city of joy, and they must be relishing the prospect, Anirban, that it's going to be India versus Australia, because as Mr. Gavaskar said, at the end of the day, the best two teams. Is there anybody out there who believes anyone other than India can win this cup?
Everybody, Rajdeep sir, everybody is believing that, started believing that India could lift the World Cup this time. And also, right now, I am just standing in front of the Eden Garden Stadium. And you can see, if you see the scenario of the Eden Garden Stadium, the people there are all supporting South Africa because they are saying that South Africa is the easy team. But they are also supporting Australia as they are stating that they want the revenge of 2003 World Cup right now. Here is the Indian fans who are cheering. You can see they are not getting me any place. The people over here, the fans, all are cheering for India, and they are confident enough that India could lift the World Cup this time. I will try to have some words with them. The bunch of fans with me. Bhai, अब क्या लग रहा है? Australia is a hard contender in final right now.
Not at all. India. It will be 2020. It will be 2003 Badla. It will be the revenge of 2003.
Well, everyone is saying Dada ka badla. As we all know, the Prince of Kolkata, Saurav Ganguly, was the captain on 2003, and it has happened in South Africa. And right now, the people have started believing already that India could lift the World Cup on Sunday, and after that, there will be a massive celebration all over India as well as in Kolkata. Rajdeep sir.
Okay. Mr. Gavaskar, we as that package said, focus on the superstars. But I want to look at do the actual matchups. Let's first look, as I said earlier, about the fact that Australia was defeated by India in that first game. Are you convinced that that should make it a little easier for India, that the Australians this time know that this is not an Indian team you can roll over? Far from it.
Yes, I mean, if you go back to 2003 as well, Australia beat India in the opening game. This time around, India beat Australia in the opening game. And Australia then went on to win the championship, very confident of having beaten the Indians in the league games. India have done that as well. So India will be confident. I'm not saying that that guarantees that India will go on to win. But when you've beaten a team that you're going to face in the finals in an earlier round, then certainly your confidence level is that much higher. You know that, and particularly the way the Indian team showed recovery. The way the Indian team bowled as well. There were some partnerships there, but they never gave up. So I think this is a different Indian team with a different mindset, and that's why the Australians will know that they'll have a fight on their hands.
How much of a difference does it make the fact that Australia played second, so they will have one less day to rest? They went through this cliffhanger of a game against South Africa. Does that work to their disadvantage? The Indians will be well rested because they played a day earlier?
Not really. I think that these teams nowadays don't worry about these kind of things. It's only for their supporters and for their media to make excuses about that. Because, quite clearly, if whoever, the Australians or the South Africans who were playing the second semi-final, if they did want to have that extra day of rest, then they should have either finished first in the group. They didn't finish first in the group, so that's why they had to play the second semi-final. And this was decided long before the first ball of the tournament was bowled.
I want to turn to the pitch. There's so much of talk about the pitches and are they favouring the Indian players. But Ahmedabad itself, we've had some high-scoring matches there. The first one between England and New Zealand. But by and large, is it a sub-300 pitch, unlike the Wankhede, where even 350 is chaseable?
Well, I think firstly you have to remember that the Ahmedabad, the boundaries are a lot longer, a lot bigger than the ones in Mumbai. So that makes a difference. We saw lots of sixes being hit at the Wankhede Stadium. You probably won't see that many sixes being hit in the finals, which will obviously mean that the number of runs scored will be a little bit lesser. You might not get 397. You could still get 330 or thereabouts. And that will be a good fighting total because of the length of the boundaries.
In 1983, you won batting first, and the West Indians faltered chasing. And since then, there's a belief that runs on the board make a difference. I know we don't know the exact weather conditions and the wicket in Ahmedabad, but just speaking 3 days ahead of the game, would you bat first if you win the toss in a big World Cup final?
Definitely. You want to put the scoreboard pressure on the team that is chasing. So sometimes, you're defending maybe like we did against the England team, you're defending only 229. But it's the scoreboard pressure. If you take the early wickets, suddenly the 229 looks maybe 259. So 20, 30 runs are added if you take early wickets, particularly in the power play, first power play of 10 overs. So bat first would be the way to go. Unless, as you said, that there's possibility of rain. But rain in November 19 in Ahmedabad is, a lot less likely.
3 players from the Australian team that we should be wary of. Are there, if you had to choose 1, 2, 3 that the Indian players should be looking at closely, are there individuals that we should look at?
Yes, Travis said at the start of the innings, because he's batting quite superbly. He's fresh because he's joined the team after maybe 2 or 3 weeks into the tournament. So he's a lot fresher as far as energy levels are concerned. He's pretty handy with the ball as well, as he showed in the semi-finals against South Africa, taking 2 wickets in an over. And so in the batting aspect, I think you'll have to look at getting him dismissed very, very quickly. David Warner with his experience is always there. But I do believe that Josh Hazlewood with the ball is the one that you'll have to watch out for, because his nagging line and length is what might not make it easy for Rohit Sharma to get after his bowling like he has against the other or new ball bowlers in the tournament so far.
One player from India that you would pick as the one who could play a starring role. Mohammed Shami, very good against left-handers. The Aussies have at least 3 left-handers in their top 6 players. So the possibility of Mohammed Shami turning out to be a potential match winner, or at least 2 big players, the 2 openers are both left-handers?
Yes, I think Shami, with the way he's bowling, his rhythm's so good. He has not bowled a no ball. He just keeps on running in, and he's getting the ball to move both ways with very little change in his delivery position. So clearly, I think he's a threat. But to me, I think the one man who can make a big difference is how well Kuldeep Yadav bowls. If he bowls well, then he could be the one who can choke the Australians in the middle overs by not only not conceding too many runs, but also picking wickets.
Because we saw that the Australians struggled against Shamsi and Keshav Maharaj, albeit, as you said, on a wicket that's turning. Just looking at the overall tournament so far, if I had to ask you, Mr. Gavaskar, pick your player of the tournament so far and why. Is there an individual that for you has defined this tournament? Is there someone out there that you feel is the player of the tournament, and if so, why?
Well, I'd like to pick two, and I think both are Indians. I think Kohli, for the way he has batted right throughout the tournament, getting to a record of 50 centuries. Nobody's done that before. So that is absolutely fantastic to see. And his consistency, just about every game, he's got a half century and more. So I think that is one. And the other is Rohit Sharma. Rohit Sharma, the way he's paved the way for the batters coming down the order, batting so selflessly, getting to the 40s, 45, 47, not looking to push the ball around and take the singles, but trying to get after the bowlers as quickly as possible, getting the Indian team off to a flying start, which has put the pressure back on the opposition bowlers. And then his leadership, then his captaincy. Even in the toughest of situations, he's shown a calmness which has actually, percolated to the rest of the team. And he's got this great ability to motivate his team. And there's a calmness about the team. There's a sense of oneness about the team, which is so nice to see. So yes, I think these are the two players I pick as the tournament, the best in the tournament.
The good news, Mr. Gavaskar, is you've chosen two excellent choices. I'm going to choose two more in Jasprit Bumrah, just for the way he seems to put the opposition under pressure as a fast bowler right at the outset, and Mohammed Shami for his wicket-taking skills. So guess what? We've got four potential players of the tournament, and all are Indians. So I expect you on the Combox on Sunday evening, 40 years after you won the World Cup, we could be hat-trick winners. So looking forward to Sunday, I'm sure.
Definitely, no question about it. Because, World Cups come only every 4 years. And for India to be in the finals is a huge thing. It's an absolutely fantastic thing. Never mind what the result is going to be at the end of the day. What this Indian team has done in this tournament has been so heartwarming. This team has given joy to so many of its supporters, so many watching not just in India, at the ground and on television, but so many overseas as well. This team has really, really shown what India is all about. Because look at from where all they come from. They all come from different parts, different cultures, but they've bonded together so well and given us so much joy. So I think irrespective of what happens on the 19th of November, we all as Indians should be mighty, mighty proud of this Indian team.
Have you chosen the color of your jacket, Mr. Gavaskar? It's already trending. Yeah, your blue was trending yesterday. What have you chosen as your jacket color for Sunday?
Well, that's what we've got to wear. That's the uniform for the ICC commentators. So we'll have to wear that only.
Okay, good. We'll see you in blue again, and hopefully the men in blue will triumph. Always a pleasure talking to you, Sunil Gavaskar. I keep saying it's the torch that you and others of your generation lit, which is being taken forward by this generation and may it always remain that way. The baton of cricket. All set now for Sunday. It's India versus Australia. And as you heard there in Kolkata, it's time for the revenge of 2003. 20 saal baad. Keep watching India Today. Thanks for watching. Namaskar.